Imagine people who are in a small, struggling community, trying to find their way together in life, in worship, figuring out the best ways to live. That here comes the writer, writing to them and saying, you know what you need to do? Pray for the kings. Pray for those who are in power, that you might continue to live a life that is filled with godliness and dignity, a life that is peaceable. Now, to us, that may not seem like a big deal. Oftentimes in our prayers, we will pray for the President of the United States, or senators, or representatives. We ask for wisdom, for justice, for mercy. But what happens when you put this back in time? You see, Caesar was not about being a man, and the people weren't to look to Caesar as just a man, but Caesar was to be seen as God, as the ruler, the one who took care of the people and the empire. And what happens when all of a sudden you have these lowly Christian communities on the fringes of the empire praying for this person? In a sense, they are saying, you're not God. You are not the one in control. Our God is the one who is filled with compassion, with mercy, and with justice. And we pray to our God to inform you as a leader, as a ruler. It is taking this ruler down a notch. Pretty countercultural. Pretty incredible. That lives are being reshaped and reformed in a very political way. So as we come together this day, we are invited to think about the ways that we might live out God's justice. This prophetic call to care for those who are poor and trampled on. We are also called to think about how we might pray for those who are in power, recognizing they are not all-knowing, they are not God. They are simply people in a particular role, and we are calling for their wisdom, for their care, but we are also holding them to account. That the life of the community might be filled with godliness and dignity and peace. A radical notion. Imagine with me where we stand now into an 8-year war, conflict, and how many times we have prayed for the troops and the people in Iraq and the people in Afghanistan. How many times we have prayed for leaders in these countries. I believe that our prayers need to be louder. I believe that our actions need to follow those prayers. Calling people to witness to what it means to create peace. Caring for all in need. And that even as we pull out soldiers from Iraq, that if we forget about the medical care, the health care, if we forget about the education, if we forget about clean water, then we are putting them in a place where they are doomed to fail. They will become people who will be trampled on. possibly with the name of Blackwater, or others come in and knock them down, maintaining their own corporate profits at the expense of others. On this Peace Sunday, come into this community and know that we are centered in care for the poor, but it cannot stop here. Know that we pray for those of us who are poor as well as the leaders, but it cannot stop there. I know that we have half a dozen or so people from Calvary who are going to Grace University Lutheran following worship today. There they are going to engage in the work of Isaiah. 10,000 voices for one Minnesota. It is to bring together people from all political stripes. It is to bring together people of all different ethnic, racial backgrounds, and to begin talking about what does it mean for us to care for the citizens, the people of Minnesota, all of us. Particularly, no matter the color of your skin. What does it mean for us to dream together about transportation that doesn't neglect North Minneapolis? What does it mean for us to look at health care that doesn't become something that rides on the back of the poor, but rather is something in which we can all participate and be engaged? What does it mean for us to educate all of our children so that children who are Latino, Latina, African American have the same opportunities and are being cared for, nurtured in their schools, instead of being told that they are second rate? This is a place of both conversation, but also of action. We as a community will be continuing this conversation over the coming months. And it is not something new. It is rooted deeply in the words we heard today. From the prophet Amos, from Paul, the writers and the evangelists of his day, that is founded in Jesus. This one who proclaims God's grace and mercy, God's shalom, this day and always. May it be so as we dream and as we work. May it be so.